Hi everyone, Reese here and welcome to ctrl-alt-rees. In this video I'm going to be showing you what's inside my IBM NetVista Pentium 4 system, as well as talking a bit about some of the upgrades I've done to it since I got it back in April. I'm also going to be unboxing, installing and playing a favourite game from my teenage years. But before I take the lid off, I just wanted to talk a little bit about what my goals were with this computer after I won it in that RMC charity auction back in April. One of my goals with this machine was to track down all of the matching accessories for it. And as you can see, after 5 months of owning it, I have eventually managed to do that. Those accessories include a PS2 keyboard and mouse, and this rather nice 2.1 speaker setup, which was manufactured by the Jazz Hipster Corporation. Yes, you heard me right, the Jazz Hipster Corporation. It comes from the time when we were making the transition from CRT to LCD monitors on the desktop, and so IBM catered for both options. As any kind of matching monitor was going to be hard to come by, I wasn't too fussy about which one I ended up with, although obviously with those early LCDs not being brilliant, I would have preferred a CRT. After a couple of months, this matching 15-inch IBM monitor came up on eBay, so I stuck a bid in and won it for the starting bid. It was being sold as spares or repair, and when I opened it up I discovered that it was full of mud and leaves, so it had obviously been kept outside for a while. However, after a clean out, I plugged it in and it did appear to be working, although the screen had a bit of a pinkish hue to it, and it occasionally made a loud cracking noise and the whole picture would shake. I've come to the conclusion that this monitor probably needs a new flyback transformer, but I just can't find one online anywhere. I even managed to find some alternative part codes for flybacks that should fit, but they just seem to be out of stock everywhere I look. So this monitor's been put on the shelf for now and I'll hopefully revisit it in the future. It's also missing the matching stand, which is a bit disappointing, but for what I paid for it I can't really complain. Next up I found this 15-inch LCD, so yet again put in a bid and won it again for the starting bid. Unfortunately, I just don't think it looks right at all. I think it's a little bit on the small side, and yet again it's missing the IBM stand, although the seller did very kindly include a standard VESA stand for free. Sadly, that stand isn't adjustable, and I think it's a bit too high, and the whole thing just looks out of proportion and a bit odd. The monitor does work perfectly fine though, and I did use it for quite a while without any problems. Finally, last week, this 18-inch LCD came up with a £22 buy it now and £7 postage. So for less than £30 I finally had my hands on a decent sized LCD monitor with the proper IBM stand and everything, and I'm very pleased with it. The only thing this monitor really needs is a good clean, and I haven't had a chance to do it until now, so I think I'll give it a quick once over. And now the screen's looking the part, I think we'll take the lid off and we'll have a look at some of these upgrades. So one of my favourite aspects of this case is that it's completely toolless. Literally just 2 buttons on the side and it pops open. So the original CPU in this machine when I bought it was this one, which is a 1.6 GHz Willamette Pentium 4. This has 256K of level 2 cache, and what I've done is upgraded it to a 2.8 GHz Northwood Pentium 4, which has the 512K of level 2 cache, so that's twice as much. One of the things that I wanted to do with this system was keep it on the original IBM motherboard, which is only a 400 MHz bus. Basically, you don't see many IBM motherboards in the wild, and I thought it would be a shame to replace that and maybe go to a hyper-threading Pentium 4 or something like that. Ultimately, the early kind of Windows XP era games can be made to run on modern Windows 10 without too many problems anyway, so I thought I would keep this as a high-end Windows 9X and DOS gaming machine. And so the 2.8 GHz Pentium 4 with a 400 MHz bus didn't seem like it would be too much of an impediment to that. One thing that I have kept is the original CPU cooler. I did actually buy a different one, and it would have involved unbolting stuff from the motherboard, actually taking the motherboard out itself and unbolting the CPU cooler bracket from underneath and fitting another one and all of that kind of stuff. And I just thought I'll try it with the stock cooler for now, just because it's a little bit more original, and it turns out to cool perfectly adequately for that CPU. As you can see, there's only the one case fan in this system, which is that one, and then you've got the PSU providing the rest of the ventilation. I haven't had any cooling issues with it at all, which is quite surprising considering it's a Pentium 4, although it does get pretty loud, so maybe some quieter fans would be a good investment in the future. So being IBM, obviously this is very much an office PC, designed for the IT department to be able to work on as easily as possible. Like I mentioned, it's toolless to actually get into the case. These drives all just lift out very easily. There's a lot of cabling and stuff holding all of this in place. I've actually fitted a second drive underneath there as well, so I went to take that out, but yeah, literally just a case of pull a handle and the whole lot lifts up. So very, very easy. That's the original IDE CD-ROM drive that came with the system. Now, being intended as an office PC, this obviously has some severe limitations that home PCs of the time wouldn't have had. For a start, it uses the Intel 845 chipset, which actually supports PC2100 RAM, but IBM, I guess for cost-cutting reasons, decided to fit PC133 RAM slots into the system. The chipset supports up to 2 GB of PC2100 RAM, but yet again IBM decided that nobody would want 2 GB, so they've fitted 3 slots and basically limited it to a maximum of 1.5 GB. To be honest, all of that's pretty much irrelevant because I'm running Windows 98 on it, and it's difficult to get 98 to run with anything more than 512 meg, which is what I put in there. I do have the full 1.5 GB, should I ever want to install Windows 2000 or XP on there, but for now I'm quite happy with 98 and 512 meg. Yes, I've looked into a few ways of installing patches and stuff like that to get it to recognise the extra RAM, but to be honest, the kind of stuff that you're running on 98, you're not going to benefit from that extra RAM anyway, so you may as well have the stability of the 512 meg and not cause any problems for yourself. So the theme here is very much trying to max this computer out using the original motherboard, just try and upgrade it to the maximum possible spec I can within the limitations that IBM have provided with said motherboard. It's quite an interesting challenge and I've enjoyed it quite a lot. One area where I could make quite a big difference was the graphics card. So when I bought this machine, it had this NVIDIA Vanta 16 megabyte card, 16 megabytes, and this is based on the Riva TNT, which is actually quite a good 3D graphics card from back in the day. This is the cut down office version of it. Still, as you saw if you watch my original unboxing and setup video when I first got this PC, I'll link to that up above and down in the description. It ran Half-Life perfectly competently, and it does run a lot of earlier DOS games and Direct3D 6 games quite happily. But because I wanted to max this machine out, I went with something slightly higher end. So this motherboard has AGP4X. Later cards running on AGP 8X or 16X run in this slot, although slower. I thought a good match for this computer would be this. As you can see, you can remove the expansion cards just by taking that out. There's no screws to remove. And if we very carefully ease it out, this is an Asus GeForce FX 5700. This is the Asus V9570 card, which is a 256 meg GeForce FX 5700 card. And I know the FX 5000 series has a pretty bad reputation, mainly because of the 5200, which incidentally is the card I had back in the day, back in my college years, because it was all I could afford. But I thought this card would be appropriate for the era of this machine, and I also thought it's probably one of the most powerful cards that you can put in an AGP 4X machine. And so far it's been a really good card, and it's served me very well, so I'm quite pleased with that, and it was also very cheap on eBay. Sound wise, I thought I'd go with an absolute classic Windows 98 card, so I've got the Sound Blaster Live. And this is the Sound Blaster Live Value. This is the original 4.1 model rather than the 5.1 surround model. It's not branded as a Value, but it is a Value. It doesn't have the DIN socket with the extra breakout connectors that the full-blown, more expensive Sound Blaster Live has. This is the CT4670. So yeah, just a pretty bog standard Windows 98 card. Obviously doesn't have a real OPL or anything like my 486 has, but I have the 486 for that, so this is absolutely adequate for what I use it for. And so that's pretty much all there is to see on the inside of this computer. Obviously, being the Intel 845 chipset, it was one of the very last USB 1.1 chipsets, so this machine doesn't have USB 2, but that's perfectly fine for what I use it for. The most I use with it is a USB mouse, occasionally, although the IBM mouse I've got is actually PS2. Also quite handy that this has got a proper floppy drive and proper onboard networking, hardware, parallel and serial ports, which are all quite handy to have for transferring files to my other old computers and stuff. And I think that's pretty much all there is to see on the inside of this machine, so let's put it back together. Now, of course, having owned this computer for a few months now, and I've pretty much had it permanently set up on the desk for most of that time, I've already installed quite a few games on it. Mainly late 90s, early 2000s first-person shooters, racing games, the Tony Hawk games, all that kind of stuff that I played at college and when I was a teenager. But there's one game that I've kind of been holding off on installing on here, and it's because I really wanted to tell the story, and it's pretty much what this video is all about. So when I was a kid, I was actually 14 years old, it was 1998, and my sister was 12, and we made the pilgrimage that all British families must make at some point or another to go to Disney World in Florida. And we spent, I think, 4 days at Disney. I think we did a couple of days in the park, one day at Epcot and one day at one of the water parks. And we spent the rest of the 2 weeks sort of travelling around Florida and looking at some of the other parts of Florida. And one thing that I do very vividly remember is we pulled into a strip mall in the middle of nowhere. Strip malls, we don't have them in the UK, they're kind of like retail park kind of thing. Yeah, we pulled into this strip mall and we were basically looking for sportswear shops. We wanted to buy trainers and t-shirts and all of that kind of stuff that we could get much cheaper over there. And there was a little computer shop on the end of the row, and I remember it very vividly. And I was really into computers at the time, and my dad actually worked for a US company at the time and quite often brought back Net and the Wired magazines and stuff. And I was very sort of keen on the whole US computer and internet culture of around that time. So I begged my parents to let me go in there and have a quick look around, which we did. I can still picture the inside of that shop actually. And at the end of one of the rows of all of the software and hardware and stuff, there was a bargain bin that had some PC games in it, brand new sealed PC games. That were a couple of years old, and I think there was something like $5 each, or not a lot at all. So I had a rummage through it, and I picked out 2 games. Now, one of the games that I found was this one, which was Carmageddon. Now, being a 14-year-old, and there'd been quite a lot of controversy surrounding this game in the news and stuff, I thought, I'd be the coolest kid on the playground if I have this game. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out that way. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with this game. I think we had a Voodoo 3 in our computer at the time, so this game supported the Voodoo, the 3DFX renderer and all of that stuff. So it was a pretty graphically impressive game, even though it was a couple of years old. But the other game that I spotted was this one, which is SimCopter. Now, I have to admit, I hadn't actually heard of this. I don't know if it was released in the UK at the time. And it was the first 3D game that Maxis made. It was a spin-off from SimCity 2000. Will Wright was actually the project lead on this game, so it's one of the last games that he was sort of fully behind and 100% his work. And yeah, like I said, at the time I hadn't heard of it, so I picked it up and took it home, installed it. Wasn't expecting a great deal for $5, but had hours and hours of fun with it and spent the next few years pretty much playing it to death. And I very recently picked up a nice brand new sealed copy on eBay. It turns out this game wasn't a big seller. It wasn't overly popular for some bizarre reason, despite the fact that I loved it. And so, yeah, the sealed copies do still come up on eBay, and it was relatively cheap. And I thought, wouldn't it be fun to sort of have that and have that, relive that experience from my teenage years of unboxing it and installing it and get it set up. So let's have a look what's inside and see how it runs on this PC. So here it is, SimCopter, the boxed sealed copy that I bought on eBay. First thing I want to talk about really are the system requirements. I'm not sure if the camera's going to focus on that or not. But essentially I just wanted to point out that this game doesn't need anything like a Pentium 4 with a 3D graphics card. In fact, the requirements for this game are really surprising. It runs on a Pentium 75 MHz and above, and it requires Windows 95, 16 meg of RAM, hard disk with 15 megabytes of free space, quad speed CD drive, Microsoft mouse are 100% compatible, SVGA card, 512K of video RAM, which supports 640 by 480, 256 colour mode, and it supports DirectX compatible joysticks and all sound cards compatible with Windows 95. So this game will pretty much run on a potato. But this is my Windows 9X gaming PC, and this is a Windows 9X game, so I'm going to install it on here. So we'll just have a look at the box. Obviously you've got SimCopter here, fly missions in the Metropolis. Fly through 30 SimCity 2000 cities or import your own. SimCity 2000 is not required. I was really into SimCity 2000 at the time when I originally got this game back in 1998. So it was a lot of fun flying around my own cities that I've been building and working on. So we'll just have a look at the back of the box as well. Got your usual screenshots on there. So yeah, fly missions in the Metropolis. Attention SimCopter pilot, you're cleared for rooftop landing in SimCity 2000, where the local temperature is a balmy 678 degrees. Yeah, I mean, I'm not familiar with Fahrenheit, but I think even 678 is quite hot. That's because there's a 5-alarm fire in progress. Ah, there you go. Not to mention rampant riots and Sim citizens running for their Sim lives. So roar through 30 built-in cities in hyper-realistic 3D and perform death-defying missions, from medivac rescues to aerial firefighting. Complete your heroics, receive rewards, a snazzier copter, tougher mission and more near-death experiences. Or import your own SimCity 2000 cities and stamp out skyrocketing crime and permanent gridlock. Over and out! So yeah, 3D Whirlybird's eye view of SimCity 2000 city, tackle various missions. So they were really bigging up the SimCity 2000 integration with this game. I should also point out there was another game released alongside this, which was Streets of SimCity, which was actually a driving game. I think it used the same 3D engine and the same ability to import your SimCity 2000 cities. But yeah, from the point of view of a car driving around the actual streets of the city. I've never actually played that game. In fact, I've never actually seen it really. But it's definitely one I want to check out at some point in the near future. So yeah, I think we will open this box up now. I think it's finally time. So let's break that seal and have a look what's inside. There we go. And there it is. Smell that fresh 1998 air. Smells like a box. So let's have a look inside. It's quite exciting for me. It's like I say, it's been 22 years since I last did this. 24 since the game came out. Back in those days you could fill in your name and address details and send off your registration card, and if there were any issues they'd replace the CD under warranty. This one also offers a free monthly draw to win Maxis games and accessories and technical support. Oh, this is just the guarantee, the disc warranty, customer service, all that kind of stuff. 24-hour technical support. All fascinating stuff. America Online keyword Maxis. Email Maxis. So yeah. AOL can be obtained by calling 1-800-827-6364 and asking for a free introductory sign-on kit. 5 hours of free time provided with the first month. Wow. CompuServe. Oh, and they also have a worldwide website and an FTP site. So, also got this. Oh, wow. Software and Toys Catalogue, Spring 1996. Just hold that up to the camera. So what have we got in here? Pack your bags for a never-ending software journey. We've got the Mind Warp. Sim Tower. Oh yes, Sim Isle. So they were really churning out these sim games at the time. All fantastic games. Full Tilt Pinball. We've got the infamous Space Cadet table there. A-Train. Wow. Some real classics here. SimCity 2000 Special Edition. SimCity 2000 Scenarios add-on pack. The Urban Renewal Kit, I had that as well back in the day. Allowed you to design your own buildings and that kind of stuff. SimCity Classic, of course they were still selling that at the time for sort of lower end machines. Sim Life, Sim Health, the Sim Classics collection, Sim Classics 2 with Sim Farm there. That's just an order form. Yeah, some really art stuff. Maxis Kids stuff, SimTown, Widget Workshop, Marty and the Trouble with Cheese. It's absolutely amazing to think that this was kind of released at the peak of Maxis sort of success in the 90s, and then shortly after this everything kind of rapidly went downhill, and they were actually bought out by EA for not a lot. And we know how the rest of that story goes. So yeah, it's system requirements: 286 and above, 640k RAM. Wow. Yeah, it's kind of impressive to see that in 1996 they were still releasing software that ran on a 286 with 640k of RAM. So yeah, one thing that they always were very good at were manuals, and SimCopter comes with a rather impressive manual. From what I remember playing this game back in the day, the manual was absolutely indispensable, purely because pretty much every single key on the keyboard did something, and it was all stuff that was pretty much impossible to find on the on-screen interface. So I think we'll refer back to this as we go. Traffic jams, dealing with fires, medical evacuations, chasing criminals. It's got, I think that was the different models of helicopter there that you can unlock. See, it doesn't mention the Apache. So yeah, a really comprehensive manual. That's something we don't get with software nowadays. And yes, here is the CD. CD, not DVD. Pretty much, it's pretty much the box art there on the jewel case. The insert just here. Oh, it's just a very quick installation and basic controls in there. One thing I was quite interested with this CD, obviously this is the first time I've ever opened it, so I wasn't sure about. There was a first and a second edition of this game, which is pretty infamous now. The first release of the game had an Easter egg, basically, that was put there by one of the programmers, who was kind of like a what's the word? Like an activist, and he put it in there as a form of protest and as a bit of fun. Basically, an Easter egg that where a very, very specific set of conditions were met, a load of men in Speedos would appear. Unfortunately, there were a couple of bugs in his implementation of that Easter egg. The first one being that the bug was triggered, that the Easter egg was triggered a lot more often than it was originally intended to, and also that there were a lot more Speedoed men that were originally intended. And that was actually in the first release of the game, and the way to tell which version you have is by looking at this serial number on the, this part number on the edge of the disc here, and mine has a -B, so this is the second release where Maxis actually removed that Easter egg, so that's a shame. It's not something I'll be able to demo, but I will find some video footage of that and put it up on screen just so you can see what it was all about. So yeah, I think it's about time we got this installed and up and running, and I'll show you what the game's all about. So I'll just pop the CD in the drive. And away we go. Welcome to the SimCopter setup program, yada yada yada. Gotta copy most of the files to hard disk. Hopefully this runs without the CD, because the CD drive is quite noisy in this machine. That's interesting. Lots of bitmap files. And lots of wave files. Yeah, certainly opens up possibilities for modding. Okay, SC2, they're SimCity 2000 cities. Very interesting. Oh. Setup completed successfully. Would you like to electronically register? I imagine the electronic registration server is probably long gone, so we'll say no. Strongly recommend installation of Microsoft DirectX 3.0. Okay, fine. Yeah, why not? I think I've already got DirectX 9 on this machine anyway. Do you want to restart Windows? Yes, we'll restart Windows. There we go. So we have SimCity 2000 demo, SimCity 2000 Network Edition demo, Sim Tower, that's always fun, all the help stuff. Anyway, so let's go.
Fire reported in downtown high-rise. Respond priority one.
Some very impressive pre-rendered graphics for 1996. Hope the actual game looks that good. So, what do we have here? New career game, open career game, new user game. Don't see any options. Let's go for a new career game. Seacliff, Island Town. Seacliff. Looks like a nice little place, doesn't it? Nice place for some havoc and helicopter pilotage. And here we go, base location. Wow. Wow. Options. Graphics options. Here we go. I assume we can increase the fog distance. And we'll go for always high resolution, shall we? Continue. Ah, that's better. Oh, look at his little legs. Just pop into the hangar for a second and see what we have in here. So we have the catalogue, and that's our helicopter there, the Schweizer 300. The old Bell Jet Ranger, that's a nice upgrade. Yeah. Those bad boys there. Upgrades, we've got the Bambi bucket, the megaphone, the tear gas launcher, that's always fun, water cannon, rescue harness. There's no point buying any of the extra things at the minute, even if we could afford them, because we won't get those missions until later on anyway, I think. The mission log, obviously we haven't done anything yet. Inventor, Rees Incorporated, that's a great company name there, definitely approve of that one. Based in Bubba. I assume Bubba isn't a real place. Maybe it is. Anyway. Let us go.
No one has more inside head machine screws than Wheatie screws. Right hand thread, Allen head, make thread.
This is an alert from Central.
I love the radio adverts in this game. Just stupid.
Transport requested.
So transport mission.
Southwest quadrant. Use caution.
These are relatively straightforward. Pick the person up, drop them off. So we have the map in the bottom right, which shows us where we need to go. Zoom in and out, I think. Plus and minus to zoom in and out. This helicopter is a bit weedy. It struggles to go forwards and ascend at the same time. The music in this game is all a mixture of this weird jazz and classical stuff. Oh yeah, I think, is this our Michael Jackson lookalike customer here? Or the two of them? Is it just that guy? Is it not this guy as well? Do you want me to do land? Yeah. Time waster, right. So on these missions you need to transport one, there we go. So just follow the grey line. Some amazing texture pop in there. You can actually adjust the fog distance on this. Oh! This place with the swimming pool on the roof. How fancy. Right. That'll do.
Transport completed. You've earned a break.
I've earned a break. What exactly am I going to do on my break? I can shout at some people with my megaphone. So the megaphone.
Central dispatch.
The megaphone has various functions like summoning the police,
Evac requested.
dispatching rioters and that kind of stuff. But you can just shout stupid things at people as well.
Standing by.
Because it's a Maxis game. Cool. Right, so Medivac. So we have an injured person. Need to take them to the hospital. Random cows. Oh. Oh, it's a traffic light. I seem to remember this first helicopter is actually pretty tough. You have your damage meter in the bottom left, and the thing above that, I believe, is your mission progress. So once that bar fills up, we can move on to level 2. So, Medivac, so we're looking for an injured person somewhere. I think we'll land here-ish. Let's see if we can... Oh, there they are. And they're being attacked by cows. Definitely doesn't help. Find a hospital, which I believe are the white squares on the map, and I believe that we're actually right next to one. If so, this will be the easiest Medivac ever. Yep, okay, cool. That's what we like. The doctor's got on. There we go.
Rescue successful.
So you can actually pick the doctor up.
You've earned a break.
And if we have another Medivac, he'll deal with it for us. The other thing we can do is just drop him out of the helicopter, but we won't do that.
This is an alert from Central Dispatch. Transport requested. Central East Quadrant. Strong winds may hamper operations.
think we'll pick up a police officer just in case, because you never know when there might be some
This is an alert from Central
crimes.
Dispatch.
Oh no, there's another medivac. Okay, well we'll take
Medical evac requested.
Reporting for duty.
Central East Quadrant. Victims
that
appear
nice.
to be injured.
Victims appear to be injured. Okay,
Reporting for duty.
it's fine. I will pick this lady up myself. Right, so just zoom out on the map and look for one of those white blocks, and there's one straight ahead, so there we go. It's there. Oh dear.
Rescue successful.
No suspect.
Good flying.
Reporting for duty.
Level successful. Return to hangar.
Return to hangar. And there we go. So it looks like this city has an arcology. If you remember these from SimCity 2000. All the self-contained city within a city in a bubble. Sounds like a great place to live. Where's my marching band? There they are. And onwards to level 2, so we'll go for Catnip Cove. Yeah, we'll go for Catnip Cove. Skip the intro this time. Oh, it's daytime, that's a good start.
When static hiss is a problem, cab drivers, copter pilots, and bike messengers prefer Glob's sugarless bubblegum. There's less selenium, so you don't make a bad situation worse. And it doesn't attract ionized free radicals, reducing the chance of severity of lightning strikes. Globs. Got one?
This is an alert from Central Dispatch.
Fire, excellent.
Fire reported. Fire reported. Northeast Quadrant. Hospital emergency rooms are standing by.
Some stunt flying as well on the way to this mission, just to spice things up. Oh yes. See, the draw distance is very obvious in the daytime. I should point out that if you want to play SimCopter on a modern operating system, or a modern version of Windows anyway at least, there is a SimCopter X, which is on simcopter.net. You can download that and play to your heart's content, and it even fixes some things like the draw distance and some other bits and bobs. There's a solar power station there. Different type of arcology. Oh, there's two of those. So I believe there are two ways to deal with fires in this game. You can call for a fire truck. Don't remember which. Oh wow, that's a big one. Or you can use the Bambi bucket. Not sure how well this is going to work because it's quite a big fire. Oh no 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 no! Come on. Seem to be stuck in the water. What's going on? Come on. So one thing I will say about this game is that it's glitchy. It's very glitchy. It doesn't help that this helicopter's horrifically underpowered and doesn't really want to fly with a full bucket of water. So which button do we press to dump the... yes, it's B, okay. Right, so fly over the fire. Oh, it's a lake that's on fire. And we're out of water already. No. Right, let's try again. Of course you can buy the water cannon upgrade as well. Try this again. Oh! Fire destroyed area. Okay. Whoa, okay. I think we might need to call for some professional help here. So how do we call the fire brigade? Is it F, one of the function keys, I think?
Police dispatch.
That's police.
Police dispatch acknowledged.
Fire, there we go.
Police dispatch acknowledged.
F2.
Police dispatch acknowledged.
Okay, I seem to have caused absolute havoc.
Fire dispatch acknowledged.
I want to help. I'm doing my bit.
Fire extinguished.
Oh, okay.
Good flying.
Good flying. I agree. Up, 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 oh. Can I cancel these?
Police dispatch acknowledged. Police dispatch cannot determine a route to this location.
Traffic jam. Okay, I'm just going to leave the area.
Police dispatch
I've done my
cannot
bit.
determine a route to this location.
Let's clear this traffic jam.
Ambulance dispatch acknowledged. This is an alert from Central Dispatch. Traffic jam reported. Northeast quadrant.
Seem to have taken quite a lot of damage. So I'm going to have to be careful. If you destroy your... Oh my goodness. Whoa. Oh no.
Good flying.
Good flying, okay. Yeah, because if I destroy my helicopter and I can't afford a new one, it's game over. So I think we'll fly back to base and
This is an alert from Central Dispatch.
do some repairs.
Medical evac requested. Central quadrant. Victims appear to be injured.
I seem to have completely lost control as well. Tell you what, let's get rid of this guy. Oh. He'll be fine. Oh, maybe not. Still. Phew, made it back. Right now, hopefully, if I can land in one piece, we can make some repairs. Woo. Good go. Oh. Fuel. Tear gas. I need tear gas. Oh. So guys from the Dire Straits Money for Nothing video, just fixing my helicopter. How much is the next helicopter? 7,800. Definitely can't afford that yet. Oh, I can afford the tear gas launcher. High pressure causes significant recoil. That could be fun. Now let's leave those for now, because I don't know if you can transfer them between helicopters, and I'd rather save up for the better chopper than waste a load of money on this one.
Nobody likes unsightly spots. They can be a real problem. That's why you should rely on the Spot Out from Ultra Labs. It smells good, it cleans better, and it tastes great. What more could you want?
And we're off. Ooh.
The mayor sends greetings to you all. Think positive thoughts and have a nice day. Think positive thoughts. Think positive thoughts.
Oh no, somebody's had an accident. Oh, and there's a fire. Well, that's no good. How did that happen? Maybe if I extinguish this fire, I'll get some points. Oh! Oops. Cool. Well, can't afford a new one, can I? That was silly.
Attention pilots, have you been crashing into buildings? Have speeders been getting on the interstate and disappearing? Denim that's rough against your skin can rob you of your competitive edge. But a little soft and felt in the rinse cycle can give it back.
So, as we can't afford a helicopter, we may as well cheat. Yes, I think that's the only sensible course of action, so ctrl-alt-X into your cheat code. I'm the CEO of McDonnell Douglas. And then we head into the hangar. And then we can press a button for whichever helicopter we want. Is that right? Oh, there they are. Wonderful.
More music, more ads, less talk. SimDue.
So, of course, these are all the standard helicopters from the game. And if we go to the catalogue screen again, and we press number 3. Of course, the other cool thing about this cheat is because I now own these helicopters, I can sell them and have lots of money to spend on upgrades and whatnot. I keep that one. Let's buy all of those things. See what we have. Oh look, we have an Apache. Where did that come from?
For your favorite comics, for the real gossip of the local social set, and news when there's room left over, the Simville Picayune can't be beat. Buy one today.
I love how the physics don't change at all. Even when you're walking, you have this momentum.
Hi,
It's quite amusing.
Biffle here. Invisible dirt can interfere with vision just like dirt.
And now we have the Apache.
And if you can't see it, how
As
do
you can
know
see,
it's
it's
gone?
oh, there's a plane up there.
You need a total clean windshield washing system. It gets rid of the stuff that might not even be there. SimDuet, the best music at the lowest possible sampling rate.
Oh no! Well, that was unfortunate. UFO! Did you see that UFO? There it is. How do I go up? Hooray!
Return to hangar.
And that's how you complete that level, apparently. Wonderful. Keithley, level 3.
I want a good breakfast, but my bus leaves in 3 minutes. Who's got time for lunch with all this work? I'll just eat a can of frosting.
The Simville Picayune makes no demands on your already busy schedule. Try one today.
This is an alert from Central Dispatch.
Fire! How did that happen?
Fire reported, North
Oh.
Central Quadrant.
Oh my goodness.
This is a state-level security mission. This is an alert from Central Dispatch. Hold up reported. Northwest Quadrant. Police request aerial assistance.
Time to put my Apache to good use and stop a criminal.
SimDoing, we fix the hits, fix the hits, nix the ticks, nix the hits, all for you, all the time.
Suspect apprehended. Thanks for your help, pilot.
Now that's how you apprehend a suspect. So I suppose all that's left now is to thank you for joining me on this very nostalgic journey down memory lane. It's certainly been a lot of fun for me to rediscover this game and also to share it with you. If you have any of your own memories about the Sim games or about SimCopter, let me know down in the comments. If you want to check it out yourself, I'll put a link to SimCopter X down in the description so you can play it on a modern system. If you enjoyed this video, I'd very much appreciate a thumbs up. It helps to improve the visibility of my channel and helps to grow it into the future. If you're new here and want to see more of this kind of thing, hit that subscribe button. And finally, just any other comments, suggestions or anything else you want to say, just pop it down in the comments and I'm more than happy to chat. So once again, thank you very much for joining me and I'll hopefully see you around.
This is an alert from Central Dispatch.
Fire! How did that happen?
Fire reported, North
Oh.
Central